Hi, this is the last week of sharing before starting sessions again next coming weekend. So the sharing of this one is the finger, the pointer finger, which relates to normality. So communication, accountability, productivity, normality. Often communication comes up, accountability. When people have the communication skills, the accountability and the productivity as a set of capacity achieved, not that often is the normality seen as part of what one has as a set of capacities moving forward. Normality is a big one, but just because it's normal for me does not mean it's normal for someone else. But if you look at social media and letters to the editor, it is incredible how much is not seen or not seen as this is not normal, it should be this, it should be that, and this. And I'm not saying that there are preferences for how to behave and how to be and how whatever it is, but at the same time, normality is what happens. If you drop something and it smashes, there is no argument. It's normal. It's broken. Brush it up, put it away, put it in the bin, whatever, if it can't be sorted or fixed. It's the ability to see it as normal. I can remember many, many years ago, this woman who was incredibly sensitive. There would be like one drop of a homeopathic, and it was enough with the sensitivity that she had to completely throw her out. And she made a statement, and she said, "I don't ask for much. I just want peace." And I thought, just open up the world, let me fall in and close up again, because no idea the vastness of what was asked for, because her sense of peace meant everyone else keep her comfortable. You know, going to war for peace kind of doesn't work, yet at some point we can't ignore that is what's happening. Hopefully it'll, at some point, that won't be the case anymore. If there was a word that I want out of the dictionary like it never existed, would be the word war. What a different place this would be if that wasn't a word that existed. But at this point, the normal as that feels, I cannot deny that is going on. When people say, "I can't believe that X, Y, Z," and I go, but it's happened. And when people can't believe or can't take it in or can't digest it, it disturbs the energy of the being quite enormously. Sometimes in breakups where people go their own way, their inability to be able to address how to go forward and find that space that can be made in agreement so that normality can happen going forwards. It's quite amazing how often in separation they start to argue for how they wanted the relationship to be, and the reason they're not staying together because it didn't work, but now we fight for it even more to have that be the way. Normality means different things to different people, but in many ways it's about not arguing with what is, and then taking the steps. Many years ago, research was done, and they found that in the times we're living in now, that bipolar would be very much on the rise. And bipolar is this sense of the dreaming space, that capacity to see or feel a potentiality. And what happens with the bipolar is that is felt as normal as already existing, when in fact it's not normal, but we need to go to where things are in present time and then see the steps as to how to arrive at it. In many ways, to feel the presence of that here and put the steps in place then is not bipolar. But what happens is they want it now, they behave as if it's now, they go into action for it only to find out it's not. And then what happens is it drops to the opposite end and goes to deep depression, only to repeat again this process of the visioning, believing it's now without the steps in place, and then again falling under. And people with bipolar, when they are put on medication, they kind of don't feel normal anymore, because what it does is it pulls the dreams down, and therefore they don't feel themselves, because the vision that they had cannot be seen anymore. It's about putting those steps in place that brings that which is present here seen, and the steps so that that sense of becoming normal, of it being normal, is a process of normality itself. The more we feel something is normal in ourselves about what we envisage, the more it comes naturally, because it feels normal to us. Some people do remarkable things and they go, well, it was nothing. I saw it and it felt normal to me. That is the normality. The other normality is, that can be very disturbing, is people try to digest, say, terrible things that happen to other people. Terrible. What if it doesn't happen to us, ourselves, it feels terrible. If it happens to ourselves, we have the ability to take it in, to digest it, to be with it, to have it settle in, to be breathed into and accepted as is. To accept it as is doesn't mean it's preferable, it doesn't mean you like it, but there is a process that's not in denial. But at the same time, if it happens to someone else and I try to digest it, it's not mine, because it didn't happen to me. The best response then is to have compassion for the processing that is taking place, to come to terms, to digest, to stand in it, to not be in denial, and for it not to take your life away. So many things happen to people and it takes their life away because the ability to normalize it, to be with it, hasn't happened. Post-traumatic stress is very much a process of that. So, normality is that capacity to see it as it is without denial, and the ability to stand in it, to be with it. It doesn't mean non-action, but it may mean non-action. Very powerful. So we have communication, accountability, productivity, normality, and the thumb is very much how the brain connects to these. There are people I've seen who had all the capacity, but no connection to all those capacities. It's a bit like having something, but without the connection to it, the utilization isn't there. So the ability to make contact is so profound, and the more of those capacities that are available to you, the more you are freed up to be the observer, to observe and come forth with the best that one is. I look forward to returning next week with sessions and see what's been going on energetically. But before I do, the essence actually to do with normality, what came up was the Australian bush essence, red grevillea. The negative conditions were feeling stuck, oversensitive, affected by criticism and unpleasant people, too reliant on others. And that certainly speaks the inability of normal. Positive outcome, boldness, strength to leave unpleasant situations, indifference to the judgment of others. If it's normal to you, it's normal to you. This essence is for people who feel stuck. It acts as a catalyst for those who know what they want to achieve but do not know how to go about it. It is for people who are too reliant on others. It promotes independence and boldness. This essence is extremely effective, though the changes may not be as anticipated. Catch you next week. Much love.